Hello, my name is Martin and welcome back to another video. We're back here, Park Bridge. Remember we came a few weeks ago and we looked at the River Medlock culvert. We found the old tram road and there's more stuff here, and I knew there was more stuff here. And with this gentleman here, Antonio from
C9C.
C9C Caving Explorers, isn't it?
Underground Explorers, yeah. I'm part of the group, yeah.
Fantastic content, and we've got the urban legend himself.
Right, everyone.
So William's got a channel as well, Urban Legend, and we've got Richie Wellock. Your channel is Richie Wellock, isn't it?
It is indeed, the one and only.
Richie Wellock. So I've just been moaning because it's raining for one, and I said, well, where are we going? Because they've invited me down here today, and I said, where are we going? And you think I'd be chuffed, but I don't think I am really. We're going down there. The River Medlock is down there. We're going down there into a
culvert.
And like I say, you think I'd be chuffed, but they've just told me a few things about the place. I'm thinking, shit. So it's deep.
It's balls deep at some point, so
balls deep, which is always a bit concerning. And they said there's other bits as well that are a little bit deeper, and I'm like, what? Seriously? So we've got to go in down by the River Medlock, walk along, and then go into this tunnel that looks like it'll be quite interesting. Don't know what it is. Need to find out what it is. I'm going to shut up waffling now. We'll get on with the journey. See you in a minute. So we've been to Park Bridge before, and that's where it is, situated roughly between the towns of Oldham and Ashton under Lyne in the River Medlock Valley. It's now a heritage site, but it was an old ironworks that dates back from the late 1700s and was closed in the early 1960s. Most of it was demolished in the very early 1970s. And in that previous video, only a few weeks ago, we discovered an old tram road tunnel that we investigated, and of course we investigated one of the River Medlock culverts and found some interesting things there. This is the video here that we did very recently if you want some more history on the Park Bridge Ironworks. But for the purposes of this video, I want you to take a look at this old picture, take a look at the viaduct that's now long since gone, and take a look at that mill there. It's all getting a bit professional, this for me. This is where we're going down there to that there. Incidentally, on the old pictures of Park Bridge, if you look at the old pictures and the ones I showed in the last video, there was a viaduct that went through the entire place, and that is part of that viaduct, believe it or not. Probably have to do another video on this place and explain more. There's the Medlock, and we're heading down a path to the tunnel of death. No, I'm joking.
The Devil's Hole.
to the Devil's
Martin,
Hole. Is that what it's known as locally?
Well, Richie, you done the research. Yeah. You said it's known as locally as the Devil's Hole.
Definitely the Devil's Hole.
The Devil's Hole, but obviously we need to find out, like I say, what it is. We can't just call it that. We need to know what it is. Yeah, anyway, we'll head on.
Yeah, it's finding the purpose of it, really. That's, you know. And as we go in, I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Right, so we're in the Medlock, down at river level, and already interesting stuff here. So we've got two arches. We're going in this, not going in this arch here, we're going the other arch down there, but what is that about?
Right, that one is blind, by the way, so it goes in about 10 meters, so 30 feet, and ends into a wall, so it's been bricked up for whatever reason. I'm sure it would have carried on, but yeah, it's blind, and that's the one that definitely goes. That's where we need to be.
Okay, so as Antonio says,
happy days.
That's blind, but we're going in this one here. I'll turn the camera around so you can see. I've decided to use GoPros now rather than walking rivers carrying a bloody camera. I'm using the GoPro, so if the sound's not up to spec, I do apologise, but you get the idea.
Yeah, the sound on GoPros, unless you're facing front-wise the person, you can't hear them.
Especially on the old ones that go in the case like that.
All right, yeah.
I've ordered a 9, but it's the pissing about sending it me. So that's where we're going. There. And if you remember last time I was up there in the culvert. Right, we're in. As you can see, I know already it's a bit deep and it's cold, a bit deeper than what I like really. But we'll head on and see where this place goes. And
Down what you need to cross over it at the end though. You can see where though.
so watching where I'm walking here, underneath there is absolutely treacherous under there, full of rocks and everything. Awful to walk on. And apparently it goes even deeper over there.
It's not great, you know.
Right, you may notice I'm clinging to the side here, and that's because it's a very, very difficult walk. Probably one of the worst culverts, tunnels I've ever walked in water before in my life. Not only, I think we're walking on the natural riverbed or brook bed or whatever it is, because there's loads of boulders and stones, and I think half a ton of bricks and stuff from whatever that's been washed down. Very, very difficult to walk on and slippy in parts, and as we get to the top end in a bit, it was really slippy. Over to the right, the guys were telling me it goes really deep, so why it's just like that, I don't know. You can see here as I'm walking all the boulders and everything. Really, really difficult. If you look to the right there, you'll just see a kind of a shelf, and that's what we were kind of trying to avoid.
Industrial rectory in Manchester area.
Right, so we're coming a short way, just from the entrance there, and that was horrendous. Loads of big rocks and everything to walk over, quite deeper than what I thought. Interesting though, as you can see. And ahead of us is a wall. The lads have put a ladder up there. I think we're going to go up the ladder. Now you've been here before, haven't you, Richie?
I have, yeah.
And William.
Yeah.
And Antonio. But I think they were faced with the wall ahead, so they've come back this time with the ladder and invited us along. Let's go and have a look. Really slippy here as well. See, it's not too bad there. It's rocky, but it's not too bad. Does it go deeper there? Is it? Okay. Right, so Richie's coming through now, and you'll see how deceiving it is, because you see how near he is to us, but yet it drops down again there. He's up to knees now. And then you've got to climb up this rock here. So this tunnel is a pain in the ass.
And there is room there, that. A mill deal with it, but I went to the field, they're not using flow, ever, I think.
Yeah. So you can see we're in some kind of chamber now. The old vaulted ceiling up there, as you can see. A bit of steel as well. But we're heading into concrete, which is concerning. When I say concerning, I mean just more modern. The guys have rigged up this ladder, as you can see Richie's going up, and then we'll head onwards, and it does look brick through there, so we'll see what it's like up top of the ladder.
Is that when you say concerning about
Right, when I say concerning, what I mean is modern concrete.
Modern?
Yeah, we don't want to head into modern concrete, but Antonio just said he thinks that concrete there, I'll just get on the torch, is possibly because the whole place needed reinforcing. I'm looking at it going, it's concerning because it's modern, but it might have been reinforced, so that's why possibly it's there.
I reckon the roof itself.
Right, concerning us in it's not a good thing that it's modern.
Yeah, we want
basically.
brick and we want stone, don't we?
We don't want cement.
No.
We want the older stuff.
Yeah.
I reckon the floor, that's the floor of the old mill.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
You can see a trap door there. Right. Yeah.
I haven't been this far. I know where it goes.
Yeah.
I've researched.
The concerning thing is you look up in this chamber, you see the beautiful arch down there. William's just coming up now. The roof is bowed. I can see a definite bow in the roof up there. I don't know if that's visible on camera, but it's most concerning. You can see why they've probably put in the concrete, because there's obviously issues here. Wooden floor there, probably the original floor of the ironworks. Fantastic, and the girders there that bore the floor. Okay, a couple of things. This is a picture I took, stood at the top of the ladder, looking down into the chamber. I've had to stretch the picture a bit so it's not quite the way it was taken. But you can see the rocks there and the natural riverbed, brook bed, or whatever it is. You can see all those rocks are really slippy, really quite treacherous. So what are we looking at? You've just heard us talk about the floor of some building, which above, by the way, is just greenery. There's just nothing there above now. You heard me speculate it was the floor of the ironworks, and I was right to a point, but later it was the floor of a cotton mill. See this map here I'm showing you? So what I've done is I've painted the Medlock in green, and as we zoom in you can see it says cotton mill there. It wasn't always a cotton mill. I've got a piece of information here that says that it was part of the ironworks and later it was a cotton mill. But as we zoom in on the map, you see it says cotton mill, gone. Left of it is viaduct, gone. But the red arrow is pointing to the entrance to this culvert that we went in, where that big steel grate was. So that's what we're walking underneath. And when we look up at the floors, the wooden floors and the vaulted ceiling, or the bit of it, that's what we're looking at. So what was the cotton mill? Well, according to Grace's guide, it was Herbert Briggs and Company, Doublers, Parkbridge Mill, had their main offices in Greek Street in Manchester. There's another picture of the cotton mill taken in 1963. This is from the Tameside Archives. You'll see the viaduct there and our mill. And then in this next picture, it says Parkbridge was not a purpose-built cotton mill. It was built as an iron roller factory, but was rented out for cotton doubling between 1885 and 1931. So there you go. It was part of the iron works, but later it became a cotton mill. And that's what we're walking underneath.
Right, so you've got the camera there, I'll show you this chain.
What's up?
I'll see the camera and I'll show you this chain.
Are we going back down this way? Yeah.
Yes, we will be going back down this way.
Head on there, you head it. Right, you see there, there's a big chain that's been there for years and virtually missed it because it's all blended in with the wall. I'll just show you how thick it is. There's my hand next to it. Wow, crazy.
Can't work out what this was for. Obviously for water, but what the water source ahead is, I don't know, because the Medlock would just come out of. So what's up ahead there, I don't know. Let's crack on.
It doesn't wear away quite easy, does it? No. But it's nice there on the roof.
Okay, so a little bit of late information for you. You'll hear me throughout the video saying I don't know what this is, I don't know what it is, it's a watercourse. But as I do the edit now, I found out at this late stage in the edit that this is a culvert for a brook. And the brook is called Sheep Washers Brook. Fantastic name, Sheep Washers Brook. Almost wipes off the surface of the earth, because it's culverted for much of its length. It doesn't come out at all, hardly. The other thing for me, annoyingly, is that it doesn't seem to be named on many maps, but again, that could be to do with the fact that it's been culverted and you don't see it when you walk above ground. I mean, I don't doubt there are places that local people will know where it appears, but it generally doesn't appear on the maps. I've got a little piece of information for you here. I'll read you this. This was from a forum that I found. I'll give you the link to it in a moment. My father always maintained that Oldham, in spite of its industrial appearance, was riddled with underground streams and small rivers. He served his time as a stonemason, but ended up on specialist building projects in general. At one point, he worked for a firm that built culverts, the special tunnels used to put rivers underground when you want to build over them. He did a lot of such work in Oldham. I suppose in the 1930s, 1940s, I think he said that he had worked on the original culvert that put Sheep Washers Brook underground in Clarksfield. That's an area of Oldham. So there you go. There's a little account of someone that actually worked on putting this brook underground. 1930s, 1940s, that probably would have been brick. We're going to see various types of culverting in this brook.
We have some little delicate stalls. They call them in America, they call them soda straws.
You can see why, can't you?
Yeah, you can see why the shape is like it's a small tube of calcite that has basically water just dripping through it. And as every droplet just falls down, it leaves a tiny bit of calcite behind. Yeah, they're so delicate, you know, you can literally break them just by blowing at them.
Yeah, it looked like it's reinforced there.
I haven't got mineralogies with us.
You can use.
So a bit of the old engineering brick there, blue engineering brick, and obviously some sort of watercourse. Can we hear water ahead?
I can hear water ahead, yeah, far in the distance.
Is that exciting or is that bad?
That is very exciting. But
Now, the guys that I'm with today, I'm with Richie Wellock and the Urban Legend UK. They do urban exploring similar to me. I'll put links to their channels down below, probably pin them in the first comment. And Antonio has got a very specialist channel. He does a lot of mining explores, quite professional stuff where they do a lot of rope work and explore old mines. So it's worth checking out his channel as well. I'll put links to all three channels down below in the first comment. Well, there's obviously been quite a bit of a flow down there because it's pushed all this shit down there, hasn't it?
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's been washed down.
And that's how deep we are, as you can see. Fair old depth.
River inlet, you know.
And we're getting to the area where Sally's Hole joined at one stage.
So there's a lot of
Sally's Hole used to actually
Corrugated. That's one thing I've never seen before.
corrugated, yeah.
Hello, it's Nanny Lynn. I'm going to tell you the story of Princess Emma. She was a little girl.
Right, so things are getting interesting. We're in a chamber, concrete chamber here. How deep that is, we don't know.
You don't want to know.
That looks like sewer. Okay, problem. How deep is that? Is it a sump that is really deep? The foam on top is most disconcerting. Fortunately, I was the only one that had a stick, so we could test the depth. We've got that, and it carries on there. But what is that? That is most concerning.
I don't think you actually should, but
It's in already, it's too late.
Well, what do you think is the box? That's all you're talking about.
Yeah, as long as you don't go neck deep or your head down in the water.
That stinks. So there was a funny smell at this point, but throughout the entire culvert tunnel, the gas meter readings were fine.
Well, then change it again there. Hold on, Martin. Good man.
Right. Let's think of it. So we're going to get through this bit quickly. Martin reckons there could be gases, I believe so. Shit, so, whoa. Ooh. Watch out when you step up here, it's very slippery as well, yeah? So, just watch it.
Stick to that side and get all that lather as soon as you can. I made it more dramatic than that. You just made it look really cool.
Set the hat down.
Yeah, got a hand here.
Right.
Right, so we've just crossed that horrible pool that I wondered if it was sewage, there's so much foam on top, but obviously tantalisingly the corrugation here finishes, and now we're back into a stone tunnel that looks even older. God knows what the dates are on these things. A load of iron stained water there. We'll crack on up there and see where this goes, but
Right, yeah.
what a place. It's so frustrating that you can't put dates on these things, but as you can see this looks really old. The stonework suggests it's very old, but I'd love to know what sort of date, but just almost impossible to find out.
Someone has highlighted here in yellow, you can see where there is a damage in the structure of the tunnel, so there's a crack appearing.
Oh yeah.
So obviously they think this as as something that needs fixing, that needs paying attention to, but I particularly don't think this is concerning. I've seen bigger cracks in a lot of the mines that go down to, but obviously we're talking a tunnel that needs some regular maintenance, I guess.
Almost a bit of the old, almost a bit of a do-it-yourself patchwork there. If you look at the brick and everything,
Yeah.
where they've done that. What patchworks and bits of oddities.
Well, so far I think we've covered some distance on the ground. I think we're on the portal that we went in.
So Richie, where do you think we are?
So we're in Cow's Hole. It's not think, I know we're in Cow's Hole, and we're heading
Cow's
towards
Hole?
Cow's Hole.
Right.
I don't know why it's called that. Apparently, some of the sheep die where they dip the sheep at one stage in Cherry Valley. The actual outflow used to come down here. But this goes all the way to Alexander Park, which is kind of where Innan starts from.
Right. I'm asking Richie because he's got local knowledge, he knows the place. He came in at the bottom end as a kid, so I've completely lost track of where we are. Anyway, interesting thing, look in the wall here. These bricks. Vitros. Is that a later thing or is that a...
Vitros.
Yeah.
Is it a brand name of the makers of these bricks?
Yeah, it must be. Obviously not, something's been bricked up, hasn't it?
Vitros in Latin is glass, is it?
Is it?
Vitro, yeah.
Right. Good job from the intelligence here.
Some, yeah.
this has to be some sort of watercourse. Initially I thought it was perhaps something to drive a wheel or a tail race or something, but it has to be a watercourse or a brook coming down that meets the Medlock that needed containing. And as I speak, we're now going into brick. Okay, so I want you to take a look at this map. So on the left hand side we've got the maps 1892 to 1914, and on the right hand side we've got the modern day maps, and you'll notice the cursors will move in sync with each other. So when I put the cursor here, that represents the same place on the right hand side. Look at the left hand map for now. There's our cotton mill down at Park Bridge, and this thing here, this line here, is the River Medlock, as you can see. We remember I said the base of the viaduct, this is the railway viaduct. Remember I said the base of the viaduct was here. We walked down here over the river, walked down this side of the river and into the Medlock there, and then we went there into our culvert. We walked for a time underneath what would have been the old cotton mill, and I'm trying to work out here why there's so much iron contamination in the water, and I'm also trying to work out why there's so many different types of culverting: stone, brick, corrugation. Anyway, we entered there. We went underneath the former cotton mill. If you look on the right there now, you'll see it's completely green. We're in the Park Bridge Heritage Site. As we pull the map down, our culvert or our watercourse reappears here. So our watercourse has reappeared now, and on the right hand side you can see no evidence for it unless it's buried in the trees. But we've got one type of culverting, then if they've reculverted this, then you've got another type of culverting at a different time. Follow it upwards, and here it says Dean's Hook Clough. Now that suggests that we're in a little valley there, probably created by the watercourse. If you look on the right, no watercourse at all. So open where the cursor is, and then nothing. So again, it's run open for a bit, and then it's been culverted. So this has probably been done at a different time to this. I hope I'm making sense here. Then it runs open again, but on the right you don't see anything. So again, this bit here that is now running open on the left has probably been culverted at a different time, hence the different type of culverting. If we go up here now, you'll see a complete bend in the watercourse on the left, and on the right nothing at all. Now, evidence that it is a watercourse, we've got a ford there. See the ford? And there's a path that crosses the river, brook, stream, whatever it is. But again, if you look on the right hand map, there's nothing there. So it runs there, and for now it looks like it's completely culverted. On and on and on, and as you can see, this goes on for a long way, and it's culverted, and then we get to these filter beds, and on the right you'll see there are no filter beds. Now filter beds for me are associated, or the last time I saw that in a watercourse was in Wigan, and the filter beds were to purify the water because of iron ore contamination. If we look here, it says filter beds, but on the right they're not there, so it possibly accounts for iron ore contamination back in the watercourse, whereas before it may have been being filtered out. This is all pure speculation, by the way. I'm trying to work out the reason for the different types of culverting and the reason for the iron ore contamination. Now, this iron ore contamination is associated with coal mining, and there was coal mines in the area. I'm going to go up this way now, and I'm just going to show you. If we go past these houses here, you'll see here we've got Old Shaft coal, and down there Old Shaft coal. Now these shafts could be completely flooded now, because it was always an issue, water in mines, and they had to pump the mines out. So if these are now flooded, water could be escaping from these at a level, at the water table level, and contaminating some sort of water course here that's finding its way down into our water course here. Or it could just be finding all its way this way to the filter beds. But I've shown evidence now of coal mining in the area and old shafts, and it's possibly the reason why we've seen so much iron ore. And the way this runs open and then closed and then open again a little bit and then closed and then open again also suggests the different stages at which it was culverted. There you go, back at the cotton mill now at Park Bridge. So I hope that it seems to make sense to me. It's just a suggestion, it's pure speculation, but I'm looking for reasons for the different types of culverting and the iron ore contamination.
So, if you notice here, guys, so this one is straight, but this one is grown like sideways, zigzagging. In the caving world, they tend to call them elliptites, and some literally just grow upwards. And what it is the water obviously is not just following gravity. The water is following the pressure downwards and sideways, where the pressure of the open pores are. So if there's an open pore maybe sideways, the water pressure will push the water sideways, and it will calcify diagonally, horizontally, and like I say, in some caves even vertically.
Wow.
Yeah. Quite a freak of nature, this really.
I found this painting. Apparently it's hanging in a gallery somewhere, and the artist was James Howe Carse. An idyllic scene of Sheep Washers Brook when it was running open. A far cry from where we are now.
Yeah, that's concerning because it has gone quite high there, hasn't it?
Yeah.
This is a piece of debris, a string or something that's been slightly calcified over.
That's why it's not snapped
Now,
in the water.
if you're heading off water, dripping over it and calcifying it even further, this would go into a full stalactite and it would be solid. But obviously we are at very early stages of calcite development.
This section here went on for ages and ages and ages, horrendous to walk on, like walking on slippy, slimy ridges, and a few of us almost went. And so, with no end to this tunnel in sight, and water literally pouring in due to a possible downpour outside, and we're very, very far away from any escape points, we had to do the cardinal sin, and we had to turn back and leave the culvert. Anyway, before you go, there's just one last thing I need to show you, a bit of a bonus thing that might be a future explore, so just stay tuned. That was one of the most horrendous tunnels I've ever been in. That was so difficult to walk through, wasn't it?
It was quite a challenge at times, wasn't it? Kept going and going.
Yeah. Not only did it go on and on and on, slippy, and then that first bit was so hard. There's so many rocks and ledges and really deep bits. That is probably the hardest tunnel I've ever been through, ever, to be honest with you, on the Medlock. Must have been a watercourse, had to be a watercourse. Lots of mines around here and all that iron ore. I'm wondering if there was some kind of if some sort of mine drainage. I really don't know, but I'll have to get home now, look on the old maps, see if I can find out what it is. Right, throwing it down. In fact, let me wipe the camera. Throwing it down. If you're still watching, got a bit of a bonus for you. The guys are taking me to something called Sally's Hole. Sounds rude, but it's not. Find out what it is for you, and I'll show you this. Why didn't it bring me? Why didn't it bring me?
Don't use my app. I think.
It should be all right. Right.
I'll wait out here.
Sally's Hole. What's this about?
So, Sally's Hole was basically a relief drainage, and that was a relief drainage from Cow's Hole. Basically, they put it in 1876. Now, the reason it's called Sally's Hole, apparently, Sally, who used to work at the foundry, was one of the members of the Lees family who owned the foundry.
Oh yeah.
And basically, she was murdered down here.
You joking?
Apparently.
Right.
So, but basically, it's what everyone says.
So it's a bit of a myth, a bit of a local.
A bit of an urban legend,
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
Right.
And it's a long one. Nowhere near as long as the last one.
Right, that was a difficult tunnel. If you'd have told me about that, I wouldn't have come, and they purposely didn't tell me. It was so difficult. I felt like a right soft ass. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. So don't forget to check out Mr. Richie Wellock, the Urban Legend UK, and
Antonio C9C.
Great stuff. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. See you in the next video. Bye for now, everyone.